Welcome to Thoroughbred 360, insights, stories, and strategy from the commercial world of thoroughbred racing with your host, Bruce Slade. Welcome to episode 27, everybody. Missed last week, of course, a busy time over this Magic Millions national Weanling, Broodmare, and Yearling sale time, of course. The Weanling and Broodmare sale done and dusted. The Yearling sale, of course, taking place over today and tomorrow. Lots learned from the commercial side of things in the thoroughbred game. I'm telling you, there's nothing like live auction. For those of you not in the game, think about it like this. You're sort of pretty much on the trading floor in the stock market, but of the thoroughbred game, watching stocks buy and trade live, person to person, investor to investor, buyer to seller, bloodstock operator to bloodstock operator. It is just so interesting. Not only the values, but the people involved, the different business strategies, all in one room. Horses, people, and plenty of action, and just so exhilarating, so exciting. And of course, myself with working with the people I do from Newgate, of course, huge consigners at this Broodmare sale, through Gay and Adrain, who've huge sellers, of course, of lovely race fleas off the track, and the likes of No Cab Racing active here, Henderson Racing and Breeding active here, the Ronbar, the Gat family active here as well. Terrific to be on the buying side for them at the sale as well. I won't touch on any highlights, but like I say, it's just great to be involved, buy some lovely horses who we'll touch on and post later this week, sell some amazing bloodstock, and like I say, just buy, sell, be involved in the trade. So much action, such an exhilarating week, and a big thank you to everyone who I ran into, who we did business with, etc. over the last week. It was great fun, and hopefully the decisions we've made this week will lead to plenty of success down the track. Let's touch on the Magic Millions Weanling sale firstly. Now, this is a condensed version of what we saw 4 years ago. So in 2023, this catalog was around the mid 400s, I think 470, 480 weanlings. It's now down to 350. Why is this? Because number one, the online space has become a platform to move on bottom end weanlings whose the cost of attending live auction is just not worthwhile. It's an extra 10, 15 grand to get to live auction, let's say. Secondly, English weanling sales has grabbed market share in this place. As I mentioned before, after the English weanling sale, that sale is growing because it is seen as being closer to and more easy to sell at from the Hunter Valley breeders. Those there that, of course, are selling, let's say, their bottom 25% of their weanling crop, or that are selling weanlings that perhaps don't suit their model moving forward. They're finding it easier to go to Sydney and offer them there. And of course, with that, if you're taking 5 or 6 weanlings that don't fit your model there already, well, then if you've got 1 or 2 there that you're trying to be opportunistic with, I guess, it's sometimes easy just to add them to the same draft and offer them as a whole. So what I did find with the Magic Millions catalog, it has been condensed, but the quality was super high. Pound for pound, as a percentage, a far greater ratio of nice weanlings at Magic Millions. And I think that's what you'll come to expect from this weanling sale. It's a really high-end, high-quality weanling sale. People are taking their weanlings from the Hunter, from Victoria, up to sell at Magic Millions, taking them there for a reason. They're taking them there because they feel like they'll be well found in the market, and they're really, high-end commercial prospects. So how Magic Millions overcome the scale side of this weanling sale will be interesting. Whether they worry about adding further scale, I'm not sure, or whether they just focus on this being the highest quality or high quality weanling sale of the year. That'll be interesting to see how that plays out next 4 years. But certainly the sale in the last few years, as a matter of fact, has been condensed, and certainly, as I said, a really high ratio of good weanlings sold through the sale this year. The Broodmare sale, similar scenario here. This is Broodmare sales right across the board. Of course, Inglis have their chairman sale only now, dropped their general mare sale at auction. And they've also dropped their Great Southern sale for mares as well. So all those mares now offered online. Magic Millions in sale in a similar way has dropped in numbers, but a higher concentration of quality, mostly due to online sales. Now, 2024, some 675 mares were offered through the sale. Last year, that dropped back to by 100 to around 550. And this year, that number dropped again to the early sort of 400s. Now, again, this online space has really soaked up a lot of those mares that are making, I'm going to say 100 grand or below, but really it's probably 50, 60, 70 grand and below. Those mares are really being pushed online now due to the extra cost of going to live auction. Good, bad, or indifferent, that is exactly what is happening. This sale, the mare sale, was super strong, being heavily involved right across the board, buying and selling, as I mentioned. I can tell you that there was lots of competition, lots of appetite for quality. The median of the sale, even though the numbers have dropped and the gross has dropped, of course, with that, the median of the sale has actually gone up. So that tells you exactly what you need to know about how people are playing live auction now. They are taking stuff there that they feel the market's going to go after, the feel that market's going to find commercial, and the rest of them, they've been offered online or sold privately. So what I will say about live auction is it has its place. It is an incredible mechanism for the good stuff in the market. No doubt at live auction, with people seeing the horse in the flesh. Of course, it's impossible to have these kind of sales on an online platform over 2 days like they do now for Magic Millions, for instance, because you just couldn't get around physically with your client to see all those mares. In a live sale format, you've got all the mares in one place. You've got all the buyers in one place. They're bouncing off each other. They're having dinner together. There's like great camaraderie. There's people teaming up. There's people working together. There's people butting heads on certain horses. And it's all creates a really great atmosphere and, of course, creates a premium price for those horses offered. So I would say this auction thing is going nowhere. I think the numbers have just about stabilized now. I wouldn't like to think they'd get any lower going forward. Obviously, this Weanling and Broodmare sale market, due to the online space and the cost of attending sales and the cost of production, and for what you're able to generate for a lower end product now, they just are much, much easier to trade online. So, as a conclusion, online online sales have their place, correct. They're soaking up a lot of that low to mid market, but live auction in this Broodmare Weanling space will continue to dominate, in my opinion, the Broodmare and Weanling sales. And for anyone that tells you, oh, this mare sale was no good, or this, whatever, I'm telling you, it was a very strong market. Yes, we probably lacked a number of high profile mares compared to previous years. I don't think the prices were any less for what was offered. I just don't feel like there was a lot of those mares with that real top end commercial value. And for what was there, I think sold very, very well. The Magic Millions yearling sale starts today, of course, the final yearling sale of the season. I've been through the catalogue, plenty of nice types in here. I think you'll find trade will be really decent in this sale, and look out for that sale. Nice, strong statistics to round out the year, and that'll make for a really strong, successful national sale for the Magic Millions sale team. It'll round out a terrific season, commercial sales season for the industry, leading into the breeze up sales. And I think, given what's happening in the economy, what's going on around the world, it's incredible how well the Australasian bloodstock market has held up in 2026. All right, racing results. Well, big weekend. It was great to be at Eagle Farm on Saturday. A really terrific day for my teams. Of course, led by the Queensland Derby, Quinella, Providence, and Monopolistic for Newgate, for China Horse Club, for the Colt partnership. Congratulations to Henry and Gavin and Matthew, Mr. Tio, and all the Colts partners. I mean, it's a terrific group of people here involved. They put plenty in. Great to see them get plenty out there on Saturday at Quinella in the big Group 1. Of course, Colts with lovely profiles, of Monopolistic now gelding, whether they race on now here in Australia or whether they get traded to Hong Kong. Either way, they've got significant value add going forward, but already they've banked, or Providence certainly banked, $1 million derby on Saturday, which was great to be, like I say, they're involved, and just great to cheer on your mates and cheer on your team and see them nail a really nice result. It was, of course, Group 1 win, 201 for Chris Waller. I wanted to touch on this quickly. What an incredible feat in such a short space of time. Of course, Chris Waller last weekend with Birdman bringing up his 200 Group 1s. An incredible achievement, but I think more than anything, just so much admiration for Mr. Waller, for the size and scale that he's built, and how well he's able to operate that stable, the systems he has in place, the people he has in place. Obviously, an incredible leader is Chris. Obviously, a person that puts a lot of time and effort into the business, an incredibly disciplined person, an incredibly consistent person. I mean, it is one of the toughest gigs being a horse trainer. It is a relentless, it's a brutal way of life. It's never ending. There's lots of moving parts, not only horses, but people, live animals, um, people with emotions, animals and people with high needs. Um, it's just it's just so much pressure, so much pull, and how Chris is able to handle all of that, but also then just to be disciplined and so consistent with it. I'm sure there's some days he just does not feel like getting out of bed. Um, with all the success he's had, um, for him to come out after that 200 Group 1s and say, this is for Timsy, this is for Mark Timms. He didn't even touch on his own accolades. He was worried about a mate of his who was obviously in the horse and had passed recently. And I thought that just was a great mark of an incredible man. And you see all these high performers, like they're not the guys that, if they're not feeling 100% or their body's a bit sore or whatever, they miss a day of gym. They just are so consistent. They keep turning up. They're so disciplined. And my gosh, that consistency and quality is so hard to beat. Also at Eagle Farm yesterday, of course, Gay and Adrain produced the Quinella in the Kingsford Smith Cup. It is a race, of course, a key lead up to the Brisbane Cup, but I wanted to touch on this from a commercial point of view, just because the mare that won at Alacance, she's a grey, she's a beautiful mare, and she's probably one of the best bred mares in the country. Of course, that's her second stakes race in Australia. She races in Greg and Annie Peace's yellow, green, and white colours, which was terrific to see. But this mare, just to touch on her pedigree for you, she's by Master Craftsman out of Galileo mare, so real European flavour to her pedigree, but it's a really elite pedigree. It's Kirsten Rousing's A family pedigree. Of course, her mother, Alance's mother, is a Galileo, daughter of Albanova. I think there's something like 4 Group 1 winners within her first generation. Horses the likes of Albanova, her champion grandmother, Alpinista, one of the best Group 1 race mares of the world in the last decade. And actually, interesting enough, a Group 1 winner from Australasia, Kingswood, who we've seen race here recently, of course, an import for Gavin Bedgegood, won the Group 1 there in New Zealand. He's actually out of a daughter of Albanova as well. So we've seen that Group 1 success correlate here in Australia from this amazing family. As I say, a beautifully bred mare who now heads the Brisbane Cup and should be a very, very hard mare to beat in that race. Second place, of course, filled the stable too with Bella Montagna, who ran terrific. And I think Alacance's biggest danger in the Brisbane Cup will be Bella Montagna. What else did we learn from Eagle Farm on Saturday? It's a beautiful sunny day there at Eagle Farm. Terrific day to just get around and see quality horse flesh and plenty of the industry participants there on a beautiful sunny day on a track that played amazingly well given the rain in Brisbane through the week at Eagle Farm. The 2-year-old was won by Berzelius. Or who else? Extreme Choice. 7 2-year-old runners this season for Extreme Choice, and Berzelius is his 3rd group winner. He's, of course, had Hydrix, he's had Paradoxium, and now Berzelius, who he was big the other day in the Ken Russell there on the Gold Coast. I was there that day. Tommy Berry jumped off and said to Michael and Lee Friedman, keep going with this horse. He's only still just putting it together. And when that horse loomed up at the top of the straight at Eagle Farm on Saturday, I just knew. They all came with him. They all made their runs together, the favourites, the whole lot of them. And I just knew that Extreme Choice factor was just going to bear out in the end, and as it did. Yes, he was a little bit green. Berzelius still learning, but he was strongest through the line over the 1,400 metres in that $1 million Queensland-sized produce stakes. And he now heads towards the J.J. Atkins Group 1 over a mile, and he'll be a big chance in that race. What I mean about this extreme choice factor is just this, and obviously watching his progeny so closely, it's just this ability when the pressure comes on, when the pain barrier is being felt for, when the lactate's just built up and you've still got to stick your neck out and win. These extreme choices just do it time and time again. Now, I'm not sure what that is. Is it an attitudinal thing? Are they just able to try harder and, push that pain barrier? Or is it, just a better cardio? Are they just clearing their lactate better? Are they just more efficient gallopers? Perhaps a bit of both. Perhaps one leads to the other. But yeah, you watch those extreme choices and they are incredible. In a tight finish, you'll always find that they will be the ones to find the most. Basilius out of an Artie Schiller mare. It's a very nice family. She was a talented mare herself, and she was a filly that was able to get up over a middle distance trip. This family is actually, so expect Basilius to run out the mile nice and strongly in the Group 1 JJ Atkins. Now, his biggest danger and the new favourite for the JJ Atkins will, of course, be Tron Bolt. He was really impressive in Sydney. This Toronado colt owned by Hermitage Thoroughbreds, of course, trained by Chris Waller. He's by Toronado out of Baccarat Baby, who was a really high-class mare. It's this amazing family of, Baccarat Baby, it was incredibly talented race mare herself, but she's out of Mealust, who's just turned into the absolute blue hen. She's not only the dam of Baccarat Baby, she's the dam of Duis, of course, the Group 1 winner. Filia, who made 1.4 million at the English Chairman's Sale this year, who's a Group 2 winner herself. And even Amici, who had a really nice schnitzel filly that we purchased at English Easter this year for 400,000. Amici was a really talented daughter of Nakoni as well. So, yeah, big pedigree, this horse, Tron Bolt. Loved the way he did things there on Saturday. Rightful favourite for the Group 1, JJ Atkins. And we'll touch on shortly the fact that he was, of course, an English ready-to-run graduate. Just while we're on the two-year-olds, also a shout out to the two-year-old that won at Caulfield, Obambulate. Of course, it's son of Tiger of Malay, so a grandson of Extreme Choice. Tiger of Malay standing at Newgate with his first crop just 2, and Obambulate was dominant. It won provincially, of course, last start, came to town on a Saturday and destroyed them there. Obambulate for Trent Bissutton, Natalie Young. No, they were absolutely just stoked with the performance. Obambulate, what can I say here? Probably could head up towards the JJ Atkins, that kind of horse, but I do believe he is going to the paddock. I do believe Trent and Natalie thinking about spelling him now and back for the spring to target a race like the Caulfield Guineas. Important new stakes winners on the weekend for Old Kirk, for Brutal, for Zoostar. Of course, Old Kirk had Regal Award with a group race there in Brisbane. Great timing for this horse. It was 7 stakes winner for 97 runners for Old Kirk. Now, that is a very strong stat. That is a really, really good stallion. Probably hasn't had a fresh horse for a while with the service fee going up. Naturally, instead of being a real buzz around the horse, I thought it was a little bit sort of flatlining with Old Kirk over the sales the last couple of months. I think that'd be fair to say. But when it comes down to it and you look at his statistics, this is a really, really good stallion, Old Kirk, doing a terrific job, high-class stallion in the making. Obviously, some really nice quality crops to come, and Old Kirk, a horse that will be standing at the upper echelon in the Australian stallion ranks for a long time, is my view on that Vinery stallion. Zoostar, here comes the award, a new stakes winner hit for him on Saturday. Importantly, that took him to 11 stakes winners for the season. So he is now a clear second by stakes winners for the season. Schnitzel's the only horse that leads him with 16, having an incredible season. The deceased Arrowfield sire. But of the active live stallions, Zoostar now number 1 with 11 and Vinny number 2 with 10 clear standouts. Finally, Brutal, his 3rd stakes winner for the season, Savagery Vibe, getting so many winners is Brutal. I think not this week, but the week before, he had something like 7 or 8 winners in 10 days. As I've mentioned before, of the horses in Australia that had 50 winners or more, he's had that with the least number of runners, getting a lot of winners in all different states with all different trainers at all different levels. And it's just a matter of time before those winners wherever they might be, go up in grade and win more metro races and win more stakes races. And we saw that on Saturday with Tony Gollan, Tony Gollan's savagery vibe winning. Brutal, really doing a good job. Maybe underneath the surface for some, but if you spend some time on them, dig a little bit deeper, you'll certainly see what I mean. And just going back to Tron Bolt, I wanted to make this point. We saw Queen Regent win the Woodland Stakes a few weeks back. She was a Breeze Up graduate here in Australia. And now we've seen Tron Bolt come out of the Breeze Up sale at Inglis, one of the top priced Breeze Up horses from last year. Now, this is really important. I think the Breeze Up market in Australia is the biggest growth area we'll see in the next 12 months, 3 years, 5 years. I think as the higher quality horses, the concerted effort into these sales has been brought about in recent years, high quality stock, high quality race results. This is going to snowball and it's going to become a really, really important segment of the Australian market. It's always been a big and important part of the New Zealand market, of course, but I can see this in Australia with more people doing it, with better quality stock and better quality educators. This end of the market is really going to grow through the better quality stock and the better quality operators. We're going to see better quality race results. We're going to see a lot better transparency and a lot of better buyer confidence, particularly from Southeast Asia, Hong Kong in particularly, but also I can see within the Australasian training and syndicator and agents ranks, really spending more and more time on the Australian Breeze Up sales as a recommended source of future racehorse prospects. That's a strong prediction for you in terms of how you are involved in that, or you've got to have to think about that, whether you're on the buying or selling front, or perhaps if you're a breeder, you might just like to know that going forward, I can see there being another nice market there for you to sell into, and that being the breeze up segment of the market here in Australia, that I think will grow to the same level it has in New Zealand in the next 2 to 5 years. Finally, I'd just like to touch on a really exciting race that's happening in Hong Kong at the moment. Of course, their season finishes on the 12th of July. So just over a month, say 6 weeks to go of their racing season. And there's a real battle on it for the Hong Kong trainers title. The most winners. There looks a good chance that there'll be a new winner of the trainers title. So at the moment, not including last night's results, we have Casper Founds and Danny Schum leading the race with 56 wins. You have Mark Newnham then on 53 wins. Back to Francis Louis on 50 wins, 49 for David Hayes, and 46, 10 off the lead is John Sy. So a really interesting race, 6 weeks to go. No doubt there'll be some coming home with a wet sail, others that have used up plenty of bullets and just been trying to hold on. But, of those 6 people I have mentioned, I think Mark Newnham, Danny Schum, they haven't won a title before. So perhaps those guys are the right guys to cheer for to see someone new win. But whatever happens, it's going to be a really exhilarating end to the Hong Kong season. And as I mentioned before, so much interest up there with such a strong contingent of Australians and Kiwis in the training ranks. That's all for this week. Plenty to touch on, plenty to talk about, plenty to be positive on, team. I'm telling you, this market has held up incredibly well again this week. It has the whole year, in spite of the economy, in spite of what's going on around the world. Plenty to play for. So as you get over the sales now and start thinking about the breeding season, I really think, stick with quality, breed with confidence. Make sure you got type in mind when you're doing your matings as well as the pedigrees. Make sure you're doing your homework on who's got some upside, who's got the quality and numbers coming through to hopefully give you some upside in the service fee you pay on 2026. It's all there for you to go out and find. I'll certainly be talking about some of these things in the coming weeks through the social media channels. Thanks to everyone for your feedback when I run into you at the sales on all the social media stuff. A work in progress, but I hope you're enjoying it very much. Please do like us, share us, follow us, subscribe, any of that, please, to show us some support to hopefully get this far and wide. And again, I've said this to all of you that say, hey, mate, great job on the social media stuff. I encourage you, do the same. Please document your journey. Share what you're up to, your challenges, what's going well, what's not going well, what you're thinking about. It doesn't have to be anything super insightful. It just needs to be what you're going through right now. And that's really relatable for plenty of others out there playing the game, but it's also very educational for plenty out there that are interested in joining the industry or being part of the industry somehow. It's a great insight for them as well. Encourage you all to get on the bandwagon and do what we're doing here at Kestrel. Thanks to my beautiful wife for producing this all. Looking forward to bringing you lots of pieces through the week that hopefully can add some value through the social media channels. Bye for now. Have a great week. Stay healthy, stay safe.